It would be a very rare Australian car enthusiast that doesn't have at a minimum a deep respect for the Ford GT Falcon. One of the most idolised cars in Australian history would be the XY GT Falcon with its 351 4-speed manual transmission. It was considered one of the ultimate Australian performance cars. For me though, the most desirable GT Falcon is actually the XT GT. The XT GT Falcon increased its engine capacity over the XR GT Falcon from the famous 289 to the also famous 302 Windsor. And with 230 horsepower, it was a very clear statement of the intentions of Ford to be able to upgrade the typical Australian family car and turn it into a wild beast ready for the racetrack. Today I'll be sharing with you my 1/18th scale classic Carlectables XT GT Falcon. Here in its original box is my Zircon Green GT Falcon. I've owned this model for over 20 years. It's been out of its box only a very few times, and the photo on the box pretty much says it all. You can tell that you're going to be opening up a really special model. And there are some beautiful photos of the interior and engine bay on the box. As it comes out of the box, it's wrapped with this really nice classic Carlectables ribbon, which I think I tore that the first time I opened it. I've tried to be as careful as possible. I must have taken delivery of this model around 2004. It's still got this membership application form in it. My model also comes with a certificate saying that it's number 1371 out of 2000 and a little brochure that tells us a few things about the Falcon GT. There it is, my XT GT Falcon, masterpiece of a car. When you see one of these on the road, you know you're looking at an absolute diamond from the history of Australian motoring. The Zircon Green paint on this is absolutely stunning from every angle. The GT Falcon hubcaps look amazing. The GT badge on the C-pillar, even the door handles and door locks. The detail here is just beautiful. And there, of course, is the 230 horsepower badge. The doors open really nicely on this model. So does the boot lid. The detail in the boot here is absolutely lovely, even down to having the fuel filler neck coming down inside the boot space there. And just like on the real car, I can take out the vinyl mat, and inside, of course, the spare wheel cover. And if I can take that out to find the factory spare wheel that sits down into the fuel tank, just like it did on the real car. With the XT Falcon and the ZB Fairlane, they were supplied with body colour wheels from the factory, something which Ford stopped doing a couple of years later, instead supplying cars with black wheels to save on production costs. It's a bit hard to see, but up the back there is the container for our original jack, which also lived up in the boot here. The detail on the interior here is absolutely stellar, and it's going to be very difficult for me to share that with you, but you can see the seat belts are folded nicely over the back seats. The rear armrest actually does retract back into position like it did on the original car. And of course, I like to leave that down for comfort. The seatbelt in the rear here, which would have been optional, I imagine. The detail down here is just as impressive with the boot release lever down by the side of the seat. The only thing really missing is the actual winder knob from the seat here. That's a beautiful representation of the steering wheel and instrument cluster. Clearly or not on camera, but you can see the stainless steel ring which says power disc brake on the brake pedal. You can see the GT badge on the glove box and the AM radio. The GT Falcon, of course, was the only version of the Falcon to come with those driving lights right in the middle there. The standard Falcon just had a dual filament set up inside the main headlight here. And look at the detail on that badge and the grille. And the finish on the chrome. Absolutely beautiful. The detail is continued absolutely brilliantly here under the bonnet, where you can see the distributor with all of its leads heading off to the 8 cylinders. Over on the front right, you can see the battery, not to mention the clutch and brake master cylinders, the windscreen wiper motor, and of course the power disc brakes on an XT Falcon had a remote brake booster, which you can see over here on the passenger side firewall there. And if you really wanted to, you could lift up those distributor cables and you can read power by Ford on the rocker covers, just like you would have had on the real Falcon. One of the innovations that the XT Falcon and ZB Fairlanes had over the XR and ZA Falcon and Fairlane was a windscreen washer bottle which was electrically operated. In the model before, you had a little rubber pump on the floor of the car, but in the XT and ZB you could push the windscreen wiper switch in to pump the water up to the windscreen electrically. Just in front of the radiator, the dual horns to make sure people are getting out of your way. The detail even continues to the remote voltage regulator on the passenger side just down there of the radiator. It's truly a stunning model, no matter which way you look at it. The detail underneath is very faithful to the real car as well, with the suspension appearing just like it does on the real thing. You can see the 2-into-1 exhaust system, just one muffler, because that's all you need in those days. Even you can read the decal on the oil filter, which explains you need to change the oil filter every 6,000 miles. You can see the fuel pump there, the sway bar, the bottom of the alternator, and of course there's an actual spring in the suspension, because we wouldn't want to disappoint by putting a fake spring in. I hope you enjoyed looking at this model as much as I just did. Until next time, see you later.